Okay, so today I'm presenting Markham Avenue in Ashburton. It's a project for Homes Victoria. I wanted to very quickly acknowledge Stephen Perkins, who wasn't able to present here today as well. He did an awful lot of work on this with me. The site is about 16 kilometres from the CBD, and it's located on the Gardeners Creek corridor. It's a really beautiful connection of waterways and landscapes that move into the Yarra and on into the CBD. Very quick look at the site itself. I probably should have given a bit more of a preamble where it is. I'll get to that next slide, but it's a wonderful location. To the south is Gardeners Creek, it's riparian zone. To the east is Markham Reserve itself, which keeps threading on through to playing grounds, sports fields. To the west, the back gardens of the houses, and then the street to the north is Markham Avenue, and about 400 metres up the page is Ashburton train station on the main line. It's been a long project, this. It's one of the first projects to be delivered under the Big Housing Build. It started its life with Development Victoria and then moved to Homes Victoria. It is really an exercise in stitching in density into a not sensitive, but a very suburban site. There was a long process, very positive process around consultation with community, government authorities, OVGA, Wurundjeri, etc., that led us to a positive outcome through that process. Fundamentally, this is about people. It's about providing safe, equitable, healthy, positive homes and communities for people to live in. It's about anchoring that in its natural environment, in nature, and ultimately about providing homes, dwellings for individuals. It was always a government site, Homes Victoria, a public housing site. There was previously 56 two-bedroom dwellings on site across two large buildings, and we've now provided 178 new homes, 111 social, 67 affordable, all retained by the state. The affordable managed through a housing provider, and the social managed by the state. Three big moves for the site, the way we approach this: retain canopy trees. I should have said the site's 10,500 square metres, so a very large landholding. We set out to retain the canopy trees, to create outdoor rooms and to connect street to creek. What this was a gated community. What we wanted was a community that's both inward facing and protective, but outward facing, connected to the environment around it, the people around it. So retain canopy trees. All of the building planning, master planning was based on the existing natural trees, indigenous trees on the site. We removed the imported trees. I completely forgot the word. We kept all the native trees, and we planned a series of outdoor rooms around those trees, both private and public. And the street, tying into that residential street. Apologies for the hoarding, it's an earlier photograph. With a domestic scale, more of an urban setting, down to the creek, which is a very natural setting, and the landscape and the architecture is starting to respond to that journey. You can see just on the far right, the tree up the top there where the actual street is. So it spoke about use. The pinker buildings are the public, the bluer buildings are the affordable. We've looked at lots of different scenarios, but the most important statement is it's tenure blind, equitable amenity. There isn't a distinguishable moment around whether or not this is a public or a private or an affordable building, private affordable, and we're looking at a number of different typologies here. So indiscernible, as are the amenity opportunities, the outlets, the connection to views, landscape, streets. But certainly it's something's of its place. It's a post-war neighbourhood, all a little bit bucolic, roses in the garden, but we spent a little bit of time thinking about that sensitive interface to that street and the houses that are currently there. The idea of the plinth, the solid plinth with the weatherboards being rendered over, setbacks, generous front gardens, ability to connect, and then not a positive always, but the newer construction, emerging two-storey typologies, very much formed by bands or dual layering of height, which came to a few drivers for us. The ideas of solid bases, the ability to integrate planting within those bases, the markers of the mailboxes and the gate posts as you move down the street, and then the identity through coloration, chimneys, features, express bases, masonry construction, corner windows, very much part of that period. And all of those things started to come together with the kit parts that were applied to this building, particularly around the interface with Markham Avenue, which left us with fine grain, smaller blocks, a lot of those clues around the corner windows, the vernacular. It's a 6 metre fall across the site. One of the things that we try very hard to do is minimise the cut, fill, removal of earth. So we use the landscape to almost use undercroft parking, but burn the landscape up to hide it. So minimal cut, built the layers back up. Basements under our buildings. So looking at the south of the site.
2 minutes.
Thank you very much. Looking at the side basements under our buildings, moving up. Our buildings were, what that allowed us to do was retain significant deep soil planting, and you'll see all the retained trees within the development as you move around, and it's just the joy of those canopy trees and the remnants of those lobbies, all connecting primarily with their bikes. So lobbies are brown, pink bike stores connecting out into the street network. So everyone's got a front door. Through that internal street network, the connections back through individual dwellings to the front street, and then the connections to these courtyards. These courtyards are the places where people meet, where communities are built. And from those courtyards that are slightly more private, we move on to allow access from our residents through balconies. Connected courtyards then move out into the wider landscape spaces where public can meet through. So the idea is it's an open, the wider community can move through the site to get to the creek, and the residents can move from their courtyards into those spaces. So it's about integrating these communities together through a series of spaces and safer, smaller zones into larger zones, and again, connections out of the site to the south and long view through the site to the north. So it's an open site, benefiting from the reserved playground, and with the circulation, wherever we can, light, access to daylight. We put our fire stairs have turned into communication stairs, and the apartments, again, seamless, inside out, generous storage wherever we're able to get it, but no fuss, robust materials, and externally a very pared back palette. Brick throughout with metal balustrades, utilised on all of the buildings, but the variety and the design is achieved through slight subtleties or balcony play where it drops in front of the slab or moves, slight play in brickwork and detailing, which allows us to stack very efficient repetitive apartments but give that animation and that movement as we move around the site. So hopefully a new benchmark for public housing.